Did you end up in Young Offenders at all?
Never at that time. I ended up in the Young Offenders. The first time I ended up in there was my dad was always forceful about, you're 16 now, get a job. My mum, you're still in bed, get a job. This happened daily. A lot of people have had that. You still in your bed, fucking doors getting kicked. So anyway, go to the job centre. I got a job as a van boy with a company called Waverley Vintners, which is a subsidiary to Scottish Newcastle Breweries. What that does is, you know what Splits is? It's like wines, champagnes, and so they, whiskies and vodka, so they deliver that. Had a great job there, really enjoyed it. Getting £180 a week. And there was one occasion where a friend of mine had stopped outside my parents' house and I heard the horn, beep beep. So I looked out the window and I thought, fucking hell, he stole a brand new BMW. I need to tell him to take it away. So when I brought him into the house, it's his BMW, he bought it. He knew I could drive from a very early age, which a lot of people don't know about, and I did. So he offered me a position to be a driver because you couldn't trust people. And I went, what is it you're doing? He says, I go into jeweller shops, I know the things that I'm looking for. As soon as they produce it, I take it and run out the shop. He said, but when I run out the shop, I've not got a driver. And I'm thinking, all right. So he's pulled 500 quid out and gave me 500 quid. It wasn't Blink. Blink said it was Black. It was a different story, right? Somebody else. But I remember panicking. I need to hide this £500 from my mum. My mum was total Catholic. She would never tell lies for anybody. So I remember putting it in one of the speakers on my hi-fi. And I refused it 2 or 3 times, but he said, keep it. That's what it is. And the whole irony is, my mum made me sandwiches every morning to go to work. I never went to work. I never went to work. I know, Mum, I shouldn't laugh, right? But it got to a stage where I had been arrested on a jeweller's raid. And then the cops went back to my mum and said, your son falls in prison. And she went, no, he's at work. I don't think he is. My mum was more pissed off. She made me sandwiches for 3 months. I used to put the overalls on, go to work, and then take them off, then go and do something else. So she was never too happy with that one. So when I get arrested for an attempted theft, that's when I got remanded to the Young. I get remanded to Balliny first.
Balliny. And
Balliny used to have a separate wing for young offenders. And I remember having to stand in this desk and look out, get a bit of sunlight. And I could see my neighbours' back gardens, and I thought, why am I doing? And as kids, we used to hide in the bushes near the pub and sing this song about the Black Maria. When it was there, that was the vans that used to come in. Now I've got a recall. I can remember singing that song, looking up at those windows, but I'm looking back down and going, how did I get here? And things developed. So I ended up...
Sorry, what year was that?
That would have been 1980. And in 1980, I was took to court and was given 3 months detention. And the detention centre, I only know it was 3 months, but fucking hell, this was something else. This was like a boot camp. It says, oh, you've been grown up, you've got blinkers on. You don't really see it too much when you get in there. There's no walking, so I'm marching. There's no talking. there's one, I still can't even shave, but there was a thing in the morning, they don't call it toilets, they call it ablutions. Right. So in the morning, you've got a pair of shorts on, you've got your slippers on, you've got your towel folded over there, you've got a plastic cup, and you go down to follow the queue and the ablutions. And there's a prison officer there that goes, razor, razor. So I kind of looked and went, no. He said, no, you stand up. you're supposed to say no thank you, sir. I don't know this. Right, so he's let a couple of other people by and he's went, come here. Razor, I went, because I heard what they've said. And I went, no thank you. Slap right in the side of you stand there. And I'm thinking, what the fuck have I done now? I can't even shave. So eventually I've heard, no thank you, sir. But this time, the prison officer was obviously ex-RUC. Don't know if it's because I was a Catholic, but when I went to shave, I kept the plastic, but I didn't shave it anyway. But I had these red hand ulsters all on my fucking face, and I'm thinking, I know what to say the next time. So detention, but I really enjoyed it. After a while, the discipline, the worst thing I ever done was put my hands up and said I used to do a bit of cross country. And I did, but I forgot I'm lying on remand. For 4 months. I was last, I'd done in my own 6 minutes with this physical instructor kicked me up the arse going, cross country runner? Fucking, you better sort this out. I managed to get it done to 5. I couldn't beat 5:12, 5:13. So it was average. But I showed progress. The food in there was brilliant. The discipline was brilliant. There's great things that you could take for it. Like the discipline, the food, the nutrition. But the violence was there. They were very violent. And the next step going for the young offenders, I never left the detention centre because I had another court case pending to go up for. So I left the detention centre, went to court, and then I got 12 months in the young offenders, which was next door to the detention centre. But the funny thing about it, and there is, I met somebody called James O'Neill. They called him Nearly the Bomb. He's always making the explosive devices up. He's just matches and different things like that. He was somebody who was a very much anti-nonce, because what you had the sex offenders in the prison. They used to get mixed in the prison. And all that, James O'Neill ran the prison gang in Glenorchy called the Glenorchy Wolves. So because I've done a bit of time in the Young Offenders Institution, and I got caught with a shotgun, and it was a big thing being a kind of teenager. So you get a pass into being into the Glenorchy Wolves, but you've got to sit and watch what somebody else is going to do to other people. And some of these things were just... The one I remember most was there was a sex offender next door to James O'Neill, and he said, Paul, come up and see me. And the prison chills, it's normally prison chills, right? But what he's done, he's got a razor blade, never cut it in half, cut it down to the end, but tied a knot in it, tied a variety of knots in it and made a noose. Now the windows in the prison cell open out the way, and when they open out the way, you can put the knot up into the bar and shut the window. So he's saying to me, this is so-and-so, I can't even remember who it was. This is so-and-so. Show Paul how serious that you are for the crimes that you've committed and what you're going to do tonight. So he's got the noose up, Jamesy put the noose up, put it around his neck. The guy stood in the chair. James just kicked the chair away, walked out and shut the door and went, Mum will get for lunch. And I'm looking going, guy's dead. He's got to be dead. By the time we get to the dining hall, they do checks. He survived it. There's been a bell that's been pressed. He's been up and nearly died. James was just absolute nuts towards his people. The other one that I remember, same thing again, invited into somebody else's cell, and he's got a piece of metal that's the workshop in the prison, and he said, right, show Paul what you're going to do tonight. Right? And the boy cut himself a bit, and he's went, no, I do it properly. I'll show you how to do it. this thing just went, blood was it. And again, I'm not saying nearly James O'Neill was potentially vicious. What I did say to him after a while, I went, James, what the fuck are you doing this for? He said, for you got to remember, they've done that to kids. Do you know how their dads, their mums, their uncles, their aunties would want to do something about it? We're in prison. That's my entertainment. If you're in, you're in. If you don't want it, then I thought, I'm in. That was that. That's the experience that I had for a number of years in the Young Offenders Institution. They were always targets. 6 offenders and Grassies were always targets.